button.
Go button.
Do I have to say something about the go button? No.
I call this meeting to order. Let's start.
Take roll from your
I'm
right.
gonna take roll from my right.
I'd be the first one. Ron Goodman.
Elida Snow.
Rob Delmas.
Ellen Johnston. B.G. Zimmerman.
Perfect. At this time, I invite any member of the audience to make any comments on any non-agenda items. Okay. We will move on to reports. Starting with building and grounds. Do we have anything new on that?
I only get the project, the bleachers moving forward. I have not looked at that lately.
I've not either.
Well, and the other, I guess, the other buildings and ground thing is going to be the restoration. We'll talk about that in the report.
In that part. Okay, sounds good. Miss Beachy, anything on policy as of yet?
The only question I had, and Ron, I forgot to ask you this earlier. You put the draft in, which is from an old policy about the school board. Yeah, I mean about, yes. You know, that she has to be here every time. Does that have to be on record?
Which one you look at?
Yeah, it's a policy regarding the clerk.
Mm-hmm. And
It's an old one.
it's 12:30 and
Ooh.
it's draft, and I mean, there are no changes, it's from 2000.
Yeah,
So-
that one needs to be approved by the board. It has new language, or the new one should have new language in it.
Yeah, so it's got the
Okay,
old one in
so-
there.
There's no new language that,
It's to align with the STARS Act. And I don't think we had to change much. I don't think we had to really change anything.
I didn't either. So we don't have to, we have to approve this though?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that was,
So we redid it and approved it.
so it must be the
First reading,
stuff
it
that,
says 12:30, now that I read the notes. Now that I
Yeah.
read the notes.
I'll say, but it is just first reading, so we'll have to do it again.
So, but
So that will be coming up
yes,
then, okay?
yes, that's coming up.
Okay, it's coming,
Madam Chairman.
look forward to. Okay, moving on to technology. As far as I'm aware, there's not anything new on technology.
no, I was talking to Charles today, this is, our phone system's gonna have to be updated again in the next couple of years, and if any luck, we'll save money more again. All that stuff seems getting less expensive, so, there.
Good.
Little
How did that?
I was gonna say that might be the only thing that's getting
Yeah.
less
Yeah, don't tell anybody that.
Okay. Then moving on to wellness and safety.
Nothing new.
Okay. Calendar. Nothing new,
Yay.
with the exception of, right? Are we gonna look at changing that possibly? Do we wanna
Really
talk
good.
about that?
As far as changing the, yeah, I guess my feeling is it's kind of a concrete event. So, if I can talking on the proposals.
No, I was, well, yes, but that's not really negotiations, right? That's more calendar. We're switching the parent-teacher conferences next year.
Yeah, next year, I think that's negotiating, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't believe it's negotiating, but we can talk about that, I guess, after,
Okay.
so. Okay,
But the calendar's not set?
calendar is
I thought it
set.
was set.
There has been a request to possibly change it. So,
You want to tell us about that? I can't remember the proposal.
oh,
I have no idea.
Do you- It's the parent-teacher conference dates are also during girls volleyball.
Volleyball, that's it.
districts
Yes.
or divisionals, yeah.
That's gonna cause some problems parking wise and staff wise. It's gonna cause problems staff wise.
Well, my concern is, don't we use the gym, or the proposal is to potentially use the gym for parent-teacher conferences again? So I guess that would be.
There's discussion about going back to that. Yes. There's teachers that want to go back to that format.
To the gym?
Yes.
Really?
There's a volleyball game going in there.
But so there's concern with there being a lot of just out of town, and then staff not being able to go to the games, staff who have children that will probably be in the divisionals, there's some concern about it.
Aren't you on the calendar committee?
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, that's not necessarily a negotiated thing, right?
No, that-
Changing the
that was-
calendar next
was
year?
not.
No, okay.
The only
I-
thing that would concern me about staff is I will lose my workers.
And that's what we discussed.
But there's only one of them. I
So you
think
don't
we
have any concern about getting people to help you run the tournament?
I'll find people, but I would love to have John Wright be my clock guy because he is phenomenal at it.
Right.
He's very good at
And
that,
Josh
isn't
Bean's also always a great help when needed, so that, yeah, I gotta find people. But
Okay.
that would be nice if those guys could be there so I could understand moving it. But it is very hard to host school when you're hosting tournaments.
Mhm. Well, and it's kind of good to hear from another side, so,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that will be something we
Either way, I'd still
should
be
check
happy
out.
because we're hosting it, so we can do whatever you guys
Absolutely.
want.
Okay. Okay, so then that would be the only thing with calendar. Moving on to transportation. Anything with that? Since my people aren't here.
Nice to get our buses back.
Are we missing buses?
Oh, we got one charter back. We're still missing another one.
Surveyors keeps breaking down.
I haven't been on any of them. I was on one right.
Saw the short buses heading out the other day.
Yep, they took those instead of the school bus to,
Was that the top 10?
Polson. Polson softball instead of the school bus. They decided to do those, and I'm all for that.
Nice, good deal. Coach's decision Very
And kids.
and kids?
Yep.
Very cool.
Are they cool now?
No, they're just way more comfortable on a school bus.
Oh, sure.
School buses aren't cool.
So they're getting there.
They're
They're
getting
working their way
there.
up the ladder. Okay, then insurance.
No,
Nothing. Okay,
because Stacy said so.
perfect. Stacy says go. Okay, then moving on to resignation, retirement, reduction of force, and non-renewal. Is it my understand that I need to read this? Okay. Resolution, non-renewal of non-tenured teacher without cause. On motion duly made. No, so we need a motion first, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion for this resolution. And a second, please.
I so move.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Resolution, non-renewal of non-tenured teacher without cause. On motion duly made by B.G. Zimmerman and second by Ellen Johnston, the following resolution was presented to the board. Whereas the superintendent has presented to the board with recommendation to non-renewal the employment of the following non-tenured teachers with the district. Morgan Bell. Whereas this recommendation is being made without cause pursuant to 20-4-206 Montana Code Annotated, which provides in part that 20-4-206 notification of non-tenured teacher reelection acceptance termination. Subject to the June 1st notice requirements in this section, the trustees may non-renew the employment of a non-tenured teacher at the conclusion of the school fiscal year with or without cause. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Libby School District Number 4 accepts the recommendation of the superintendent and hereby non-renews the employment of the following non-tenured teacher without cause pursuant to 20-4-206 Montana Code Annotated. Morgan Bell, vote being had on the foregoing resolution that results of which are as follows. At this time, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
You got this, I did, thank you.
The chairperson declared said resolution adopted on the 5th day of May, 2025.
That's done.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on. A and B were the same thing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. To consideration of staff contracts and transfers. Okay, so we had tabled the winter coaches. So at this time, if there are any questions, now would be the time to ask them. I did have one question about I just drew a blank. Evaluations. So I'm just wondering if it's enough time, because you said those can be fairly involved. And Nick and I had chatted about having one form for the head coaches to evaluate the assistant coaches too, so everybody was kind of on the same base. That was my suggestion. But do you feel like when the season ends at the end of March and then you guys had it on the April agenda, it's not actually scheduled to the end of May, like, is that enough time to do all
And-
those?
End of May, I think it is, yes.
The end of May, because our board meeting would be
Or
the beginning of May.
See,
Okay.
and I think was my confusion is our fall ones are 1 month after the season ends, winter ones are 2 months after the season ends, and spring ones aren't until August.
The fall. Mhm.
So why aren't we all just 2 months after the season ends, they have to be renewed? That would make it.
So that actually is part of the collective bargaining
Okay.
agreement, so
I
that is
just didn't
something
understand
that's.
why there was a difference.
Tradition.
Right,
And also this year spring break fell in there, so that was my I was like, I don't know if this is the 1 month or that, because it was
Right.
a week later. So that makes sense. 2 months is doable, yes. Now, if we're
Okay, so
gonna
the
add
end of-
assistant coaches to that,
okay, that's my concern.
Isn't it the head coach will evaluate the assistant coach?
That is my understanding, because it would be too much
And
for
I-
one person to do.
you and I discussed this. I would love the opportunity to do the assistant coaches with the head coach, like as a group. Because I don't think our coaches evals are taking that serious, just because they've never been. And I think if the head coaches had to help us eval their assistant coaches, we could use that as a learning tool of,
So that needs
this
to
is
be,
why I have it on your eval, what do you think? You know,
Right.
I just think it would be a really good way to see the head coaches see it in a different light, that you're just judging me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like, I think if you did a co-thing with the head coaches, it'd be huge.
if that head coach had input, that'd be great.
Well, and if you two were the AD and the head coach doing it together, I just think it brings a new light to the head coaches of what the purpose of the eval is. And I don't know, that was my thoughts on it, which that might not make any sense to anybody, but I would love the idea to work with head coaches on the assistant coaches.
okay, that being said, if that comes to fruition, do you still think that month, because let's be honest, it's the end of March to the beginning of May, so you've got April,
You gotta.
is enough time
I
to do
do,
that?
because usually these evals, by the time the season ends, are usually just about wrapped up. I was just way behind this last winter. Because you do them all year. I mean, your eval isn't, oh, season's over, let's get it done.
Do you
Yes.
sit down and talk with the head coach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we have end of the year exit interviews.
Okay.
Not having coaches that are in-house make it really hard. Like
Mhm.
Dean Thompson, we can't meet up. We've done it over the phones before. Just
Okay.
because our schedules are different. But yeah, I think it's okay. I think we can make it work. And also, if we're gonna do assistant coaches and do them, and I have an example of that one I sent you that I created a while ago. If the head coaches know going into it that we're gonna do this is a year-long process. It's not we sit down at the end of the season and figure it out. You know, halfway through the year, we need to look at this and start seeing where we're at. So it just needs to be planned well, and it
Right.
can happen, yes.
Right. Well, because I really do think it's important. I mean, we all know our programs struggle, and if we don't try to figure out how to start improving them, you know, it's never gonna change. So,
Well, the assistant coach is gonna be just as vital as
Oh, big time.
yeah,
Actually,
absolutely.
probably more.
And I would say a month is a push.
Yeah.
Is it? Well,
I
that's
mean,
kind of my
it's gonna be
concern.
tough. I think it's a push. It could, yeah, I mean, if it's,
And it kind of depends how far they go into the season, into the postseason.
We do it from a month from the state tournament, though.
Oh, okay.
That's where it's set.
So I really don't feel like it would be that big of a deal to talk to the collective or talk to the negotiating committee. There we go. I was like, what's
And
my
just say,
word?
let's go 2 months.
And if we
just
could
so
do
we're-
2 months, yeah, at that second board meeting after the state tournament.
I think that would be beneficial.
Or no, I guess it would technically be third to give you 2 full months, but
That's the hard thing. It's
Yeah.
just kind of weird.
yeah.
Well, if you had 6 months to do it, you'd get it the last week. If you want 2 months to do it, you get the
You
last
get
week.
it last week, you know?
And
So-
everything Nick writes on there, we can talk about, because I have to sign off on it.
Right.
We agree upon it. That's it.
So who's doing the evaluations?
Nick technically is. There's some confusion in there, but we're
Okay,
going to try
that's-
to get worked out. So, do you sit in any of the evaluations
in
with
all of
him?
them.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, if I'm not sitting in it, I'm reading it before I sign it.
Yeah.
Either agreeing or asking
There's
questions.
been obviously, there's times where he's too busy to be in there, so him and I discuss it before.
And I've said it.
He sat in on 2 of them
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
So administrator signed off.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, just as long as we kind of are aware how things
Yeah.
are happening and stuff, so.
And it's been kind of like, I'll give you guys these, this is the head coaches and the assistant coaches that we did. When we started that handbook, we tried to base these off that handbook,
Are
just
these
so
the
they're
same
matching.
as my,
The
you
ones I
sent me?
emailed you,
Okay.
yep, so
So you guys-
there's a copy, at least if you guys, obviously, everything we do is kind of work in progress, because you're
Right.
always editing. So if you notice anything you think's important, love to hear it. And my printer's running out of ink, so they're hard to read.
Interesting.
Because
But I
at
do
this
like
time,
the assistant idea, it's just,
I did too.
That's
it's work.
yeah,
Getting people together.
And what we've always done in the past is when we have our end of the year head coaches meeting, do you have any thoughts on your assistants? And usually they'll say, we gotta work on this, or no, they're great, or I'm struggling with them. You know, that's kind of been it. This is a much more professional way to do it.
well, and I mean, worst case scenario, it kind of gives you a paper trail to know if improvements have been made, if
Yep.
they're, making changes. Right now, there's no,
Not for
no
assistants,
paper trail for us.
but for head coaches, luckily there is, but yes,
Right.
I think it needs to be across the board.
Right.
And then you do about the 6th grade coaches, and it doesn't need to be this intense, obviously.
Right.
But, so that's something we need to start working on.
Yeah. Well, and maybe we'll give you some time.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Any other questions?
Yes, I'm still pretty concerned about the girls' head coaching thing.
Okay.
I appreciated your answers. I thought they were very good, actually, really good. So, good job. I've supported Bemler, Coach Bemler, every year. This year I saw a pretty drastic change in January with the girls. And I didn't think it ended well. I thought he lost the confidence of the girls. I thought the girls were pretty shattered and upset. And I'm concerned about it. And I don't know that
There's
he.
things that we did during the season that I think he actually grew a ton from that. He instilled meetings every week where he asked the girls what they need from him and what their true feelings are and what they need. Now, did that pan out? No, we didn't end up winning because of it. But in these grows and glows I got from the players, they talk about the effort that went into that season. And did I see them give up? Yeah, I did. I did. But I
Yeah.
saw the same thing in girls soccer. I saw the same thing in volleyball. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it in boys sports. And I'm not saying that it's not. It's our culture living right now. We're not winning in anything. I don't know.
How do you define a win?
I
Is it
see boys
numerical, or
basketball
is
this
it
year was my favorite
learning?
to watch because we lost a key player, 15 points a night player, plays great defense, rebounds. We were losing every game by 20, but I saw those kids having fun. I saw them helping each other up, high-fiving. That's what I want to see across the board. And I mean,
That's my biggest concern now, because I feel like we're losing girls. There were 9 freshmen last year. There were 5 sophomores this year. There's 1 junior left.
and I think that's true. And I mean, boys, we had 3 seniors. We had
But I mean, part of
12
it,
when they were freshmen. And I also look at, and I agree with you, with numbers are my biggest concern. We are the smallest Class A school in the West right now besides Dillon. Columbia Falls has 760 kids in their high school and they had 24 girls out for basketball. We had 20.
and I totally get that. I really do. And I mean, the biggest problem I guess I'm having is that I don't know, I feel like girls are starting to lack any sort of passion for the game.
And
Because I
think
feel
we've
like
lacked
they're
that for
getting a
years
lot
now.
of negative.
It's been tough. I agree with you.
How long has Todd been coach?
This is
4 years.
This was his 4th year.
We've not won a conference game in that time.
We haven't run one for 2 years before that either.
And that's not great either, but if,
And the thing, and I'm not saying you're wrong by any means, and I see this across the board, not just in girls sports right now. It's everywhere. It is. I mean,
Everywhere we mean like,
all our sports.
oh, all our, okay.
Yeah, I do. I see it across the board. I don't see one program we have where the kids are super confident and they know going out, we're going to play until the very last minute. I think boys basketball was my highest excitement this year because I saw it in those boys, but it was because of the 3 seniors that led it. They were the reason those kids were excited to play every day. And I'll tell you right now, Todd right here, Mindset Monday. This was his goal for next year. New idea, Mindset Monday. Players research and share how to improve mindset. I mean, that is one of his, I'm doing this next year. So I agree with you, but luckily he's in the frame of mind that he knows he's not the best coach out there. He's listening to what we're saying and he's trying.
So how long do we hold on to a coach that's not getting it? I'm not saying, I'm just
That's a
asking.
great question. And if it's a coach that I feel is putting kids and not helping kids be better people, I would say we get rid of them. But the growth I've seen from Todd Bendler in 4 years ago, if you would have asked me this, I would have said, now let's move on. But I truly feel he's taking this to heart. He's listening to what we're saying and he's working on it. I got one comment I want to read from you from my growth from a player. And I tell the players, I'll never tell who this is. Okay, these are all, I want to keep this, I don't want them to know who's saying it.
Just initials, right?
Well, I have initials in my
Yes,
books, I don't give it to anybody else. Coach, I have seen a lot of change in him the last X years. He's doing what he can with us and is working hard. We have a few that dislike him, like all teams, but I have to thank him for his hard work. He is struggling to know when to get mad and when to be soft with this team. And it's not his fault. It's the few on our team that caused this. I'll tell you right now, she's a senior. For somebody that played for those 4 years, we haven't won a conference game, to say that. Now, is there ones that say different things? Yes.
Oh, well,
Of course there is. I mean, he is too aggressive at times. He needs a more mellow approach. Yep, I could agree to that. I have both throws and blows, so I'm not saying he's perfect. But with him, I think the changes I've seen and what we've asked him to do and the way he's worked at it, it'd be really hard for me to say bye. Especially because when we hired him, we had one person apply. We're begging people to be assistant coaches every year. We have one guy that stuck it out. Now, could we find the perfect situation? Yes. We could get lucky and do it. But if we're not bringing a teacher in that wants to coach, we can find in our community. Everybody that I beg to come coach is a young person putting their career together and they don't have time to come coach. They can't be at the practice every day from 3 to 6. They can't miss every Thursday and every Saturday to go on away games. It's not the easiest position to fill. Do we have people in this community that could be phenomenal? Yes, we do.
Are we recruiting them?
The last time we hired a coach, a football coach, I contacted 14 people and asked them to apply. Yeah, we're begging them. I have 2 elementary coaching jobs that have been open since the season ended. 0 applicants.
Do people locally realize that? I mean, other than word of mouth locally, how do we get the word out?
Put it on our site, we have a job open.
Okay.
We used to use social media, but that didn't do much.
I don't know if it goes on the local paper.
Doesn't probably go on the local paper. That might be a good situation.
There have been advertisements in the paper.
There has been.
Can I say something? As a former 5th grade teacher, I know that trying to get those kids in 5th grade to go out for the sports, there was times they would come in looking for somebody, hey, we're doing signups. maybe one kid out of 25. They're just, it's starting younger and younger. The kids don't want to do the sports. This is not a high school issue either. I mean, I'm sure there's some issues there too, but I know the numbers are dropping, but it's starting at the elementary level. The kids don't want to play the sports.
It's really frustrating, and it's not just Libby. I'll
Right.
say that over and over. Bozeman High School didn't have a varsity softball program this year. They got 1,800 kids in their high school, and they didn't have enough kids to fill 2 softball teams. Big Sky High School has 2,000 kids. They had 2 girls programs. They used to have 4, and they took 3rd at state. They're really good. This is everywhere. Kids don't want to play. It's hard. Basketball is the one that's the hardest because it is by far the hardest to play.
There's fewer on the court.
And
I agree, but with that in mind, you gotta make it fun. You gotta have them still enjoy the sport. And I'll be straight with you, Nick. I'm gonna ask you straight. Would you want your daughter playing for Bemler?
Yes, I would. After what I've seen him change in the last 4 years, yes, I actually asked him to coach our travel team the weeks I couldn't go this year.
Do you foresee that happening?
We'll see what.
Coach Bemler coaching your daughter who is 2 years away.
Yeah.
All right.
And the reason I say that, I've seen what he does in open gyms, and he's begging these young girls to come. He did morning shoot arounds all year.
I absolutely don't deny that the effort is there. I really don't. I know he puts in a ton of time, but I am concerned about the mental aspect. And I see girls being broken down, but they're not coming back up, and they're not having fun at basketball.
Well, and here's what I gave him for grows from me. We need to win. And don't get me wrong, I said that to every coach we have. Girls need confidence that they can win. That's the one I told them we got to change. Practice needs to be more fun for the coach and the player. It's got to happen. Basketball needs to be more fun and draw girls in and keep them with the program. That's what I told them we got to see next year.
Well, the last thing I'll say, and then I will be quiet, but, you know, I feel like as a coach, he needs to take responsibility. I've never read a leadership book where the buck doesn't stop with the coach or the person at the top. And sometimes it seems like he's blaming the kids a lot of times, or half and half, however you want to put it. But I don't think that's reasonable. They're teenagers, they're girl teenagers. And there's been a lot of crying that I've seen before practice, or excuse me, after practice, before games, after games, during games. I mean, it seems kind of rough. I just don't know what else to say. I've been rooting for him the whole time. I want our program to do well. If we can't win, I want girls that are at least happy playing basketball. And that's been rough.
You know,
This
something else?
is not the first time that Rob has
No.
addressed this. I think he's addressed this at least the last 2 years that I remember. You voiced your concern about the.
Well,
girls'
I
basketball.
will freely admit I feel a little too close to the situation. So again, it goes back to, Coach Bemler has treated my daughter wonderfully. He's been very nice to her. But there's something that's not clicking. I don't know, but they have, I don't know what to say, but that's.
And I don't disagree with you, Rob. I mean, is every coach perfect? God, we know that. I would love to find the right assistant to help him because he has put in the time and he is doing the best he can and he is making changes we ask, but we need somebody. Coach Bean and I were a good pair. Coach Bean was kind of the bad guy, I was kind of the good guy. I had more fun than he did, so us together worked out really well. We haven't been able to find that with him yet. I thought Darby was going to be it. Wasn't quite, didn't work out that way, and obviously she's getting married and life's moving on for her. Nolan, love the guy.
He has the same struggles as Todd does.
Well, but the kids love him.
Do they?
They're really attracted to him, but his knowledge of basketball isn't quite there.
Okay.
So, but, you know, I would love to find somebody to fit in that program and make it work, and maybe we get this guy to do it.
You're gonna do one of everything, Scott.
But Rob, I hear completely what you're saying. Yes, we are, we get that panned out, it's gonna be a lot better. And I don't disagree with you.
Okay, so I think for time's sake, we do kind of need to move on. I appreciate you, Nick, for being willing to answer all of our questions and yeah, I do. I will kind of finish too. Like, I do appreciate Todd looking out and trying to get the kids included, and I think that's very important, but he has to be able to try to figure it out and, you know, try to make it fun for them also, you know, and don't make them come up with the ideas. So, okay, so that being said, I think we'll go ahead and take the 3 high school sports separately. And then we can go ahead and lump together the middle school and LES. I guess
And
4
it
high
was-
school sports.
Yeah, because speech and drama.
Yeah, it was down at the bottom. I missed it. So yeah, the 4 high school sports separately. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with boys basketball, Mr. Bean and Mr. Hannah.
So we're gonna do one at a time?
Yes,
I'm
I
just
guess we
asking.
can.
What-
Yes. We can do one coach at a time. Is that what you're?
No,
referring to?
I'm asking one.
I think it's important to do the high school sports one, and actually even one coach at a time. Or both, whichever way you want, and then we can lump the middle school, elementary together.
Typically what will happen is varsity coaches take it back. The new varsity coach gets to interview and select his assistants typically, but the board can.
But we have to vote to rehire both positions, so. Let's go ahead and just do them individually, just so that we know where kind of the votes are. Does that sound good? Make sense? No? Am I confusing you?
No, I think that's.
Okay. You still have that puzzle book, so I
I
want to make
know,
sure.
well,
But I have some questions.
Okay,
go ahead, you first.
Well, we need to have a motion and then I'll ask some questions.
okay.
Okay.
So let's start with Mr. B. I need a motion for hiring Mr. Bean, please.
Make a motion that we hire Mr. Bean as head basketball coach.
I need a second.
I need a second. I second.
Okay, I have a motion by Rob and a second by BG to approve the hire of Mr. Bean as head basketball coach. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment because I remember when we hired him with that plan. And there was a big brouhaha among people in the community and.
It was a stir, wasn't it?
And there was some discontent on the board. So my question is, has he improved his coaching behavior since that time?
I would say
I mean, he
absolutely. I
he
think
was
when I
known
coached
for
with
throwing
that,
chairs and yelling at kids and that sort of thing.
I think he has his moments he struggled this year, and we've addressed those. But I think overall, as a head coach, I think he has come miles in the way he treats kids. And not that he ever treated kids poorly, but he was very aggressive. He's loud. I think he cares more about the kids he coaches, and I think it was pretty obvious how the boys' basketball season ended with those senior boys doing everything. They fought like crazy. We weren't the best team in the world, we know that. But even that last game in Polson, they fought their tails off. Every kid that was on the floor worked, and they were happy to be a part of the program. Now, Scott, you might answer that differently because you coach with them more than I do now. But
Again, yeah, I would say that, I mean, I've been 3 years on his staff, and I would say, yes, the biggest complaints that he had against him was just during the games, introduction yelling, has gotten so much better. And he's even aware of it, just like, you know, hey, Josh, you know, and he knows that he's still working hard to get better at it. But yes, he's gotten much better, yes. And there's no doubt that he's improved.
You think he's much more positive with his players?
Yes. Then 5, 6 years ago, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree. Sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I mean,
he,
I'd say even from 2 years ago, he is.
yeah,
I remember that we were real hesitant about hiring him at that time. Thank you.
And I think the kids also with him coaching football, I heard many comments about how prepared he is. You know, the kids respect him because he works his tail off, you know, and they understand how much it means to him. And I think he does a good job with our kids. Now, does he yell? Yeah. But I love Mr. Beagle once hit him, hey, and he's like, yep, you're right. He sat down, you know, he listens.
Well, I'm glad Scott was there.
Yeah.
So does
My
this,
son might not agree with you, but
does this information from the board, whoops, about our concerns, will that get back to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
That's what I'm taking notes right now.
Okay, I mean, you know, I think they need to know that we want to make sure that we have kids that have a positive atmosphere. I'm more interested, just like you said, in kids having a good time and enjoying themselves.
And being
That-
good people.
That to me is winning. I mean, I love to win games. I loved watching my grandkids all win games, but I love to watch them having a good time.
And we see
So-
kids that, programs that do, you know, Mr. Hannah's tennis program, Mr. Thompson's wrestling program, like, you can tell those kids, I mean, there's
The
40
kids,
kids that go out, you
Yes.
know, so, I mean, yeah, they have fun, so.
they do.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. I need a motion to hire Mr. Hannah as the assistant, please.
I still move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve Kyle Hannah as assistant boys basketball coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, girls basketball, Mr. Bemler. I need a motion.
I will make the motion to hire him with reservation.
I'll second it with reservation.
Okay, I have a motion by BG and a second by Ellen to approve Mr. Bemler as the girls basketball coach. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. What does a reservation status mean? It's just me.
Technically nothing, it's
Nothing.
just
It's
to voice our
just
concern. Yeah. Yeah.
I just wasn't sure, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, Nolan Broden?
I move. Yes.
I
Okay.
don't know Nolan, so I can't
If
speak to him.
he took my treatment, I know him well.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve Nolan Broden as the assistant girls basketball coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Wrestling, Mr. Thompson.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Ellen to approve Dean Thompson as a head wrestling coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Justin Graham.
Okay. Good.
Justin Graham.
I'm good.
We will let you talk.
I know.
I love the way you raised your hand.
I'm good.
he's new.
I so move.
A second, please, for Justin.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve Justin Graham as assistant wrestling coach. All those, or any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Speech and drama.
Yep. I need a motion for Mrs. Lee as head coach, please.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Ellen to approve Kim Lee as a head speech and debate coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Assistant, Mrs. Bell, Miss Morgan Bell.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Ellen to approve Morgan Bell as assistant speech and debate coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, so
What do we do about cheer?
I was
Is that what-
gonna lump her in, but we can do her separate if you want.
Well, I didn't know. what
Yeah.
was-
I mean, technically she's high school, but
Yeah,
And she's different because it's 2 seasons.
Mhm.
We already renewed her fall, but
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how it works either.
I mean,
So-
so we can take her independently. So Jen McElmurray for head coach for cheer.
Is that the longest lasting cheer coach ever in the world?
Uh-huh. She's been doing it since like 2003.
Really?
did the daughter graduate
Last year.
Last year she
last, oh, and she's doing it still?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if we got the amount of girls that do cheer, do sports?
Yeah, without them having to sports, that would be good.
Like 100 of them, like hundreds.
I've never seen so many
I haven't figured.
cheerleaders. We had 3 when I was in high school.
Yeah,
Okay, I need a motion, please.
I don't even know what we're.
For Jennifer McElmurray.
I make a motion that we,
That's one.
Jennifer McElmurray, as cheer coach.
That's cheer coach. Second,
Second,
please. I have a motion by Rob and a second by BG to approve Jennifer McElmurray as head cheer coach. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. So if I could have one big motion for middle school boys basketball, middle school girls basketball, elementary boys basketball, elementary, well, we don't have anybody in
We don't
elementary
have-
girls. That'd be appreciated.
I move, I
Second,
saw move.
Okay. I have a motion to approve Jim May and Nick Rayworts as middle school boys basketball coaches, Joe Flores and April Rayworts as the middle school girls basketball coaches, Joe Flores and Micah Germany as elementary boys basketball coaches. Any questions or comments?
I don't know about those Ravers people. You know, they don't know anything about sports.
Thank you for that comment.
I hope so, Nick.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, I think that covered them all.
I think you did it.
Moving on to 2025 temporary summer maintenance crew.
That includes Sarah McBride and Steve Pilney, which are really did a good job last year. And we picked up some other kids. And if we have, if we do as good as we did last year, we'll have any left at the end of the summer. So, but I think we'll start with them and say, I think those are the ones that applied.
So we have to approve all of them.
I think
Right.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need a motion, please.
I still move.
second,
I have a motion by BJ and a second by Rob to hire the temporary seasonal maintenance crew. Deegan James, Sarah McBride, Aiden Olson, Keith Parks, and Stephen Pilney. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to consideration of first reading of clerk policy, 1230.
And
Do-
Stacy says,
I'm still confused.
okay,
Is it that we're just reviewing it? We're not making any changes?
but
There are some slight wording changes so that we're in compliance with the STARS Act.
Okay.
so this is actually a draft of that.
Right, and I couldn't tell you right now, because I had somebody else do it for me.
We had to
So we
change,
don't have an underline or anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my question.
Yeah, there's slight changes in
What
there.
kind of changes that we do?
something,
You don't know.
No,
So-
I don't even think there's really any changes, because we were in compliance. We just have to make sure it's read at the board meeting approved.
So if we do the first reading, for the second reading, can you highlight the
Yes,
changes?
yes.
So we can still legally do the first one
Yeah.
and then talk about it at the second reading? Okay, if you could do that, please.
I think the whole point is we're just trying to make sure we cross every T and dot every I.
That, yeah.
So we have,
Mhm.
But as a board member, it'd be nice to know kind of what we're changing, so.
be kind of nice for everybody, I think. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and do a motion for the first reading.
I still move that we consider the first reading of policy 1230.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the first reading of policy 1230. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, so we have to review the agenda meeting. No, not the agenda meeting, the regular meeting. Sorry, I have to use my phone. So we will have certification. Thank you. This is a lot bigger. The canvassing of votes, which remind me what the canvassing meant again?
We're just gonna
County levy.
Just review them. Okay.
We have to review who the tally of willingness.
Okay.
Any bets by that, Wayne?
And
I'm curious.
on the mill levy,
Yeah, mill levy.
I really am.
I
I feel
mean,
like we shouldn't bet at
raise
the
your hand
board.
if you think we're gonna get it. No, I'm just really curious.
Okay.
You're not the only ones asking for one though.
Then the certification of the new board members, election of chairperson and vice chairperson. This is a really bad meeting for me to be gone.
I was gonna say,
Can I still be nominated even though I'm not
Yes.
here?
Of
Yes.
course you can.
yes.
Okay,
I'll nominate you.
then I guess I'm getting in whether I like it or not that
Yes.
way, aren't I?
Did you get the message?
Don't try to get out of it that easily.
Okay, so, and then appointment of district clerk and reassignment of committees. So that will be a big reorganization.
Do we have to do the reassignment of committees at that time? Can we just talk through it a little
Can we table it?
and then put it at the next work session?
So that we can talk about what you do.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 2 new members.
Oh, sure,
And
sure.
that would be hard for them to just jump on.
Just jump on and, yeah.
Yeah.
So the reorganization will have to have a chair, and we just want to stop at that point.
Yeah, so after the appointment of the district clerk, and then we can do the committee, reassignment of committees at the next work, or the next agenda meeting, so
So
that,
this is my one chance to be do your job.
right?
So I'll just stop.
Everybody gets to do my job next week.
That's right. So we'll just stop at and not assign the subcommittees.
Yeah. And that way, you know, we can talk about them so that the board members, the new board members can then consider
Sure.
what they might want to take on, and then we can actually assign them at the agenda next month.
Sounds fair.
Okay? Good idea, BG.
That's why I'm your assistant.
And then June's meetings are going to be June 2nd, June 9th. A lot of meetings in April, the minutes, so
lot of
be sure
minutes.
to read through them.
They're short.
And then all the rehiring of the staff. It looks like this is a big meeting.
That's why I thought the shorter we can make
Make it.
stuff,
Yeah.
the better.
Okay. Any questions or comments about next week's meeting? No? Okay. We don't need a motion or anything, right? No, I don't think so.
Not for this,
Not for this one. Okay.
but we need a motion to adjourn,
Yes,
which of course I make.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Madam Chairman, I would like to complain that the other side of this room is not carrying their weight. I
Hopefully.
mean, Rob, what are we gonna do with them?